Israel does the work for civilization against Iran, and now with a little help from its big friend, the USA. A little over 2 months ago, Trump gave Iran 60 days to reach a deal to trade prosperity and acceptance for its nuclear program. After a handful of meetings, it was obvious that Iran was delaying until they had finalized their nuclear weapons. On the 61st day, Israel acted on behalf of the rest of the world and did a strategic bombing that took out most of Iran's military leaders, as well as an amazing list of key military sites. This was possible since months ago, Israel engaged in a targeted bombing that did devastating damage to Iran's air defense systems. I note the parallel to World War II. About 2 years into the USA's involvement in Europe, Germany's air defenses had largely been destroyed. From there, it was a cleanup operation that still took another 18 months. This was due to the failure of the US and England to stop Hitler in the late 1930s, so the Nazis were very entrenched. It took a lot of armaments and innumerable human lives to end their occupation of Europe. But ending their air defenses parallel to Israel's approach to Iran was a big first step. Iran's population, some estimate over 80%, oppose their terrorist government that increasingly oppresses its own people. I believe this was key to the incredible attack on night one that took out so many military leaders and nuclear scientists. This does not happen without many eyes on the ground. In turn, Israel has done all it can to avoid civilian casualties. Israel calls its campaign against Iran Rising Lion, drawing a verse from the book of Numbers in the Bible that foretells the success of the Jewish people. In contrast, the terrorists have launched wave after wave of missiles at Israel's population centers. In addition to property damage, sadly, there has been loss of lives. These cowards, like all terrorists, don't go after military sites. They go after civilians and hospitals. This is parallel to the terrorist Putin going after the civilians in Ukraine. And I wonder how many lives will be lost before the Russians rise up against that murderer. My favorite video so far of the Iran-Israel conflict was the live broadcast by Iran State TV when a bomb hits the broadcast building and you can see the on-screen person running away. Word is that the terrorist Ayatollah may be seeking political asylum in Russia. Hey, that seems somehow appropriate, doesn't it? As Netanyahu explained, I want to assure the civilized world we will not let the world's most dangerous regime get the world's most dangerous weapon. Iran plans to give those weapons, nuclear weapons, to its terrorist proxies. That would make a nightmare of nuclear terrorism all too real. And he continued, the increasing range of Iran's ballistic missiles would bring that nuclear nightmare to the cities of Europe and eventually to America. Here's my global observation on the situation. This documents the massive failure that is called the United Nations. If the UN was going to do its job, Iran would not have fallen to a terrorist regime and Russia would not have occupied Crimea in Ukraine. Why is a single country, along with US support, Israel, doing the work of so many civilized countries? This now includes a number of Iran's neighboring countries helping Israel intercept the missile barrage from Iran. While never a Trumpster, I do like the fact that he said he would decide in the next 2 weeks if the USA was going to get involved. That is because Israel needed the heavy bombing required to take out Iran's deep nuclear development sites. Well, in a surprise move, that happened Saturday night. The USA did what only it could do and sent the big bombers over with the bunker busters. Reports are not a single person on the US side was hurt, and all 3 critical targets were destroyed. Now, some of the morons called Dems have complained that there was no formal declaration of war by Congress. Well, tough. In order to safeguard our military members, it had to be a surprise. With the anti-American losers who are sympathetic to the wrong side here, no way the operation could have been leaked to this Congress. I have a little message for the Ayatollah and his shrinking band of supporters. In John Donne's famed poem, the final line is, therefore, send not to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. Last I heard, Iran requested new peace talks, but I do not think anyone takes them seriously. The question is whether regime change is on the table. I certainly hope so. Over the years, I've had a good fortune to interact with many Iranians. I found them to be rational and articulate people. I believe the statistic is that as many as 80% favor returning to a more normal country and not a terrorist outpost. So I say to the people of Iran, Americans, us, support you. The best way to peace and prosperity is for you and your country is to Mussolini the Ayatollahs and take control of your country. If you're too young to know what that means, look up the last days of the Italian dictator from World War II. Obviously, the military is without many key leaders due to the precision bombings. I expect that many in the military, especially the lower ranks, and also support the people of Iran. If they are young and smart, they do not want to be killed along with the supporters of terrorism. Therefore, it is that time in your history to regain control of your country, and hopefully many in the so-called Revolutionary Guard will join you and stop oppressing you. This is Dr. David D. Schein. Thanks for joining me for this special edition of Saving America. Remember, a new Saving America show is aired on the Brushwood Media Network every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Listen on any of the 16 network stations, Apple or Google mobile app, Apple CarPlay, TuneIn, Smart Speaker, and all smart TVs. Find more information at the brushwoodmedianetwork.com. Please be sure to join us each week. We welcome and love your feedback from our growing audience.